Paul, there's someone in this room. Paul, there's someone in this fucking room!
What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel, and today I'm going to be talking about Friday the 13th, Part 2, released in 1981. This movie takes place 5 years later after the events of the original Friday the 13th. You have a new group of camp counselors. They are in another camp that is close to the original camp's vicinity, but it's a whole new place. It's built up real nice, and the events of the first film, people try to forget about it. It's a new start to summer camp until things go haywire as adult Jason makes his debut as the new killer in this franchise, and he wreaks havoc. That is a problem, ladies and gentlemen, because the original creators, Sean S. Cunningham, the original director, and Victor Miller, the original writer of the film, as well as Tom Savini, all three of them really opted out of returning. They were like, why is Jason the killer? Doesn't make sense for him to be the killer, and we're not going to be a part of this. Understandable on their part, because in the original story, Jason Voorhees drowned. Even though you get that chair jumper ending towards the end of that film, it just makes everything convoluted and it's head scratching. They left the project, got a new writer here. You have Steve Miner as the director. He directed Halloween H2O, as well as Friday the 13th Part 3. This movie is a huge improvement from the original. You have, like I said, new cast of characters here, great performances out of them. They feel like actual people. You have a great final girl here in Ginny, played by Amy Steele. This movie had some box office success as well, not on the level of the original, but it was still successful. With a budget of $1.25 million, this movie made $21.7 million at the box office, making 17 times its budget, and it was the 35th highest grossing film of 1981. So let's get into it. As far as what I liked about Friday the 13th Part 2, Jason's debut is great for me. He is at his most human in this movie. It just feels like he's a little bit of an amateur with killing people. He's got a long way to go. He's gonna get to it, He gets to it by Part 4 anyway, in my opinion, but he's still brutal here. He has some great kills in this one. You had two Jason performers. The first one was Warrington Gillette, and the second one was Steve Dash. And Warrington Gillette was Jason unmasked, and then Steve Dash was like Jason under the potato sack. Steve Dash, his performance, he falls a lot. It may come off as a little goofy sometimes how much he falls, but it is what it is. Like, this is Jason's debut, ladies and gentlemen. That opening shot, when you see the legs of Jason walking on the street, that's actually a woman playing Jason. That's the only time a woman played Jason in this franchise. Like I mentioned in the beginning, the cast here are great. They are a huge step up from the first movie's cast. These people feel like they were around each other before shooting started. Like, they had time to get to know each other, and they just have great chemistry. It doesn't feel like amateur hour here. The acting feels natural. They feel like real people. These counselors are led by the character of Paul Holt, along with Ginny, our final girl here, who is Paul Holt's assistant and lover. The cast here, they're great, and they just mesh well together. The kills here in Jason's debut, like I mentioned, he's brutal, and they are very mean. These kills are very mean, and they are iconic in their own right, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you got the spear through the bed scene, with Jeff and Sandra. You have the wheelchair death scene. I think the guy's name is Mark. He gets a machete to the face. You have the death of the deputy or cop or whatever, as he chases Jason to Jason's shack. After Jason runs across the road, Jason lures him, to his shack. And the officer's in there, everything's quiet. He's trying to search the place, trying to find Jason, get the hammer claw to the back of the head. Like I mentioned, man, these kills are mean. Even in Jason's debut, these are some creative kills, and they work. As I mentioned, Ginny, played by Amy Steele, she's a fantastic final girl. When you really think about it, she's probably the best final girl throughout this franchise, and this is the second film. She just brings so much to this character of Ginny. I guess she seems fun to be around, and when things go inevitably bad towards the end of the movie, she outsmarts Jason. She does. Jason's no slouch himself. He is very crafty in his own right. That scene inside the cabin when Jason walks in there after the majority of the chase scene has gone down. Jason walks in there and he's searching for Ginny and she's under the bed. You know, she sees a rat under the bed with her, and she starts to pee. And Jason sees that. He sees the pee coming from under the bed, and he plays a trick on her. Seems like he left the cabin, and you know, Ginny starts to get from under the bed. Everything's quiet, and then she looks up, and Jason's waiting for her with a pitchfork. But unfortunately, the chair he's standing in breaks, and he falls down. But you know, these two outsmart each other. Jason's crafty, Ginny's crafty in her own right too. But you know, like I said, Ginny here, fantastic final girl, better than Alice, and probably better than any other one that came after this one. In my opinion. And to piggyback off that last point, you know, the final chase scene is great. It's one of the best chase scenes in this franchise. I love the camera work done by Steve Miner here. You know, I like the shot where, you know, you have Ginny in Jason's shack, and you know, the camera's on her, and you see Jason in the background in the window just running towards the cabin. That's a cool shot. And I also love the shot where Ginny is hiding behind the car, you know, in front of the car, and Jason's in the background searching for, you know, I just love the camera work done here. And I also like Ginny's craftiness towards the end of the movie. You know, she is in Jason's shack, you know, after you get that amazing shot. Ginny comes across the Pamela Voorhees shrine, you know, with her head still in there with all the bodies surrounding it. You know, she thinks quickly, very resourceful, by the way. She thinks quickly. She puts the dirty sweater on, and she styles her hair up like Pamela. And then you get that moment where she's tricking Jason. Ginny says these lines here.
It's all done, Jason. You've done your job well, and Mommy is pleased. Jason, Mother is talking to you!
She says all that, and she gets Jason down. He's vulnerable until she steps a little too far to the side, and Jason sees his mom's decapitated head, and he realizes, oh, I'm being tricked. And so he lifts the pickaxe up and, you know, blocks the blow from the machete. With Ginny, and Paul Holt shows up, and then, you know, they get into a tussle, and then Ginny strikes the machete in Jason's shoulder. You know, the ending to this movie, it's decent. It's a decent ending as well. It's obviously not as definitive as the original, but I think it works. It's worth it for me. And finally, I dig how they expand on the lore a little bit in this one. You know, that scene in the bar when Ginny is talking to Paul and Ted. And also, Ted, how did you survive, bro? Whatever. You know, those three are in the bar. Paul Holt he was telling the counselors about the backstory of Jason and how he came to be. Especially in this one, how is Jason the killer? How did he survive? Maybe he saw Mrs. Voorhees beheaded that night, and he took revenge. And he took revenge on Alice. In the opening of this film, and we're gonna get more to that later, Ginny just brings up, like, what if there's a Jason? You know, what if there's a man child in the woods? He didn't know anybody. You know, he never went to school. He only knew his mom. He may have saw her get killed that night. Maybe he is real. He's not a legend. As Paul Holt says, you know, Ginny, Jason is a legend. He's always been a legend. Nah, bro, he's real. You know, you just don't know it yet. You're not at camp. Everybody's getting killed. The ones that didn't go to town are picked off by Jason. So he's real. But, you know, the lore here, expanding on the lore, even though it may be convoluted for most, or for some, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's still a franchise that I enjoy most of the time, you know. But, you know, even though it may be convoluted, I do think that the expansion on the lore here works. As far as what I'm on the fence about Friday the 13th Part 2, you know, even though I said Jason's debut here is cool, I'm not really sold on his look here. He looks like a hillbilly. He's in overalls, and he has a potato sack or pillowcase over his head or whatever. But again, first time making an appearance as an adult in this franchise, adult Jason. So his look may be amateur here for some, including myself. Even though the look is not one of my favorite looks of Jason, it gets the job done, I guess. And finally, in the mix section, the pacing here may be similar to the original for some people. For me, I think this movie, its pace is way, way better than the OG Friday. But again, most of the kills happen towards the end of the movie. Some spread out through the movie, like you get, like I mentioned, the death of the officer, and also you get the death of Crazy Ralph. You know, Crazy Ralph dies in this one. The pacing may still be a little slow, but for me, it flows way, way better than the original. As far as what I didn't like about Friday the 13th Part 2, the opening with Alice is unnecessary. I don't know why they brought Adrienne King back. They could have continued this movie without her in the opening. I guess they needed something to bring Jason to the forefront, like give him a reason to make his debut within this film. And so him killing the girl that killed his mother makes sense. It makes sense within the story, but it feels like the opening with her is just tacked on. And basically it's just a 5-minute recap of the original film, you know, the ending to that film. I think Adrienne King herself was shocked to learn that she wasn't going to be in the movie a lot. She was just here for the opening kill, the cold opener, if you want to call it that, and that's it.
Honestly, when I got on the set that weekend, I didn't know it was over for Alice until I got there, so it's a surprise.
It doesn't serve a purpose to the story that's being told throughout this movie. It's just here to just kill her character off and show the audience and introduce the audience to Jason. And finally, while the kills are great here, these are great kills, they are cut away way too fast. The MPAA was like, nope, you cannot show the full spear going through the bed. You got to cut away from the machete to the face moment. You got to cut away from the guy getting his neck slit when he's hung upside down. The kills in this movie, they are cut, you know, a little too fast, in my opinion, and that's going to be a mainstay throughout the series, because by the time Jason Takes Manhattan arrives, there is hardly any blood or gore. So unfortunately, the MPAA are not going to let go of this franchise. But ladies and gentlemen, those are my thoughts and opinions about Friday the 13th Part 2. Let me know what you think about this one. Is this one a step up for you as well? You know, it is for me. I prefer this one over the original. I'll be honest. I think the original it's a movie I can respect more than I enjoy, but I found that movie to be very boring. Whereas this one, it ticks all the right boxes, you know. Let me know what you think about this movie down in the comment section below. Check out the previous review of my Friday the 13th 1980 review. Like, comment, subscribe, and hype this video up if you want to. And check me out when I do Friday the 13th Part 3. And until next time, guys, I'm Bran. Thanks for watching. Peace.